On today's show, good news, Rocha. Bumblebee has a new trailer. Birds of Prey gets a release date, and we get our first look at... Is that a first? Can we lighten that? I can't see anything. Movie Talk starts right now.
It's supposed to be a horror, man. You're supposed to be scared. That's why it's in the dark.
What's in the dark? I can't see. I want to see the doll.
Are you sure you want to see another version of that doll? Maybe they're hiding it for good reason.
I think maybe they're hiding it because they're embarrassed at the Oakland Raiders' performance so far this season. That is Perri Nemiroff. That is John Rocha. I know Perri's fresh off a fantasy football victory. Or at least you're going to get one after Monday Night Football tonight. Rocha, your sports weekend, your movie weekend, how was it?
Movie weekend was busy. Sports weekend more so, though. Having the Redskins win was nice for me. Florida State getting a victory as well. And then winning the fantasy, I'm pretty much killing Jeff Snyder. At least in one arena, I can beat Jeff Snyder. Snyder is losing by 80 points right now to me in fantasy. So, and I've still got, I think he's got 2 players to play tonight, but I doubt they're going to get 40 points each. So.
All right. Well, there we go. Everybody feeling a little bit of success up here at the news desk. And I'm very excited to do Movie Talk back live for an entire week. We get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention what I did yesterday. I watched a whole lot of sports. And yes, I watched the Redskins win. I also watched Tiger Woods complete maybe the greatest sports comeback in the history of time. Ben Hogan, Muhammad Ali, Monica Seles, Tiger Woods, they're all in that group together, and it was great seeing my favorite golfer on the planet do what he used to do best. I really enjoyed that. But now we get to go talk about movies again. This is what they pay us to do around here. I guess they pay Rocha to talk about sports too. You lucky dog. But we're going to get back to movies. And our first story is the weekend that was at the box office. Not sure if my panelists actually paid money to go see a movie this weekend, but I got to check out A Simple Favor, and it landed at number 2, and The House with a Clock in Its Walls landed at number 1 with a surprisingly high take of $27 million. Like I mentioned, A Simple Favor coming in at number 2, around $10 million. The Nun trailing that one ever so slightly, $9.6 million. The Predator at number 4, just over $9 million. And Crazy Rich Asians still in the top 5 yet again with $6.5 million. A couple movies of note that were released that did not crack the top 5 or even the top 10 for that matter would be Life Itself. Sorry, Sap lovers, if you want This Is Us, you can go see it in the theater because it's not going to be that crowded. I didn't hate that movie as much as everybody else does, but can't say it's good. And then Assassination Nation coming in at number 15, only playing on under 1,500 screens, I think, but not a great take for a movie that I think was pretty impressively made. So let's combine all this stuff and go to Perri Nemiroff first. Perri, tell me, what is the biggest surprise for you at the box office? Was it the plucky underdog that could, A Simple Favor, or was it the fact that Jack Black and Cate Blanchett, a little bit of magic combined to make a lot of money?
I think the bigger surprise for me is Fahrenheit 11/9, because speaking of fantasy sports, you guys also know I play Fantasy Movie League as well, and because I bet really big on Fahrenheit 11/9, because Fahrenheit 9/11 made a huge amount opening weekend. Yeah. My fantasy movie league tanked, which is why I'm happy I won my match of football this week.
Well, it's probably the same logic that you used when you started Deshaun Watson yesterday over Matt Ryan, is because you went with what happened last year.
You had to tell everyone that I made that mistake.
But
still, I still won, and I came close to something like 140 points, which I think is a nice haul there.
Very impressive, but you're right, Fahrenheit 11/9, nowhere near 140 fantasy points. And in real dollars, it didn't make that much either. $3 million on 1,700 screens. And when you combine, or I guess when you look at that next to what Fahrenheit 9/11 did way back in 2004, very different time, very different era than what we're in today. But it seems to me like people are either sick of hearing about the stuff that Michael Moore is telling us. I don't think they should be, but I think that they are. And I think that there's been a lot of backlash against Michael Moore himself with recent lawsuits and pending and stuff like that. So you add all that stuff up, very disappointing haul for your fantasy box office.
Yeah, that was a rough run. But, with The House with a Clock in Its Wall, I wound up getting that one pretty close to just right. It's a crowd pleaser of a movie, and it also landed in a great spot because it's been so long since we've seen a family-friendly adventure type movie like that. I feel like families kind of just flock to it, and I'm curious to see how it winds up holding up this next weekend because we've got Smallfoot hitting theaters. So, it's got the Halloween thing working in its favor, that Halloween is coming up. Kids are going to be excited to see something like that. But depending on how Smallfoot does, it could wind up stopping it dead in its tracks.
Yeah, Smallfoot, one of those family crowd pleasers, like what Perri says, The House and the Clock at Its Walls was. Rocha, I didn't really know that this movie was going to do anything, much less get to the number it did. I think Night School and Smallfoot both coming in are going to be vying for that number 1 slot. I don't think The House is going to repeat its success being at number 1 one. Is that the biggest shock of the weekend to you?
I think for me it is, because I don't know how to track Jack Black's box office attraction anymore. There was a run of him, that School of Rock days, where you could rely on him, and this is something surprising. And now you have to look at Jumanji in a different light too and go, it wasn't just The Rock getting people in theaters, and it wasn't just Kevin Hart. It might have also been Jack Black, and maybe to a lesser extent Karen Gillan with her nerd fame and Adventures fame as well. So, but certainly Jack Black now with this, it did better than Goosebumps. I think it has a slightly lower cinema score than Goosebumps, but it got 27 million, which is pretty incredible for a film like this, and it is mainly Jack Black getting people in the theater. So I'm
Kate
just
Blanchett.
Well, I'm sure, but I don't think Kate Blanchett. People run out to watch a Kate Blanchett movie at $27 million opening. I'd like to take a look at her things where she is the solo or the co-lead and see what her box office opening take is. But I think also it's a kids thing. I also think that has to be.
I think kids like seeing a haunted house movie that their parents can be like, all right, this isn't going to give Johnny too many nightmares.
Right. And you see this, and so to me, I think it will stay consistent. I will be surprised if Smallfoot slides in there and overtakes it. Every once in a while, we get these animated films that just come out of the blue, out of nowhere, and we think they're going to do something, and they might not do well because they didn't get enough marketing behind it. So I've seen the posters and stuff, but nothing is really blown up around it, and that would make me think it would maybe really destroy a house with a clock in its walls. If the word of mouth is good on this, and the kids like it, parents will come back over and over again.
Don't discount Hellfest, too. I mean, you name drop Smallfoot and Night School. We're on the cusp of October here, and that's a movie that combines haunted mazes with slashers. And, that's what we see this time of year, these random horror movies that pop, and that is targeting a very specific audience, and an audience that does tend to come out big time, at least in opening weekend, so you never know.
After The Nun, nothing's off the table. That's for damn sure. And that thing is now almost $300 million worldwide. That's incredible to me. But I will say this, Dan Fogelman, this film, no one I know who's gone to see it liked it, and his comments bashing white movie reviewers, male movie, really, I don't understand why artists come at movies. These are people's legitimate reactions to your movie. Don't be a jerk about it. Some people don't like it. I hate your show. I hate This Is Us. It is so schmaltzy and manipulative. It's like, insert cry here, insert cry here, and there's no real characters. They're not three-dimensional in any way, shape, or form, and it's frustrating to watch. So if people have maybe found you out that you can't do this on a movie screen, then maybe you take your lessons, learn from it, and go back. Don't criticize the reviewers. And I'm a Latino reviewer telling you that, so you can't come at me now, fool. But it just bothers me when artists say stuff like that, because I think it undercuts what movie reviewers are there to do, which is to watch a film, give their professional analysis of the film, and then leave it be. But if you're gonna cry about it, then don't make films.
I understand that, but I also understand that if your job is to criticize people, you got to have thick enough skin to have people criticize you. That's just that's the way it works. And I understand as an artist saying, hey, look, I worked really hard on something. Movies are not easy to make. So if somebody is just sitting back and they're like me and they're just cracking jokes about this thing that I poured my heart and soul into, and now they're going to criticize me, and people follow them and people listen to them, that's going to hurt my feelings. I'm going to come back here. I'm not saying that's how I would react in that situation, because I've been criticized as an artist a number of times, but I think it's fair game. If you are a movie critic or you want to be a movie reviewer out there, get ready, because the same way you can take shots at people, they are allowed to take shots at you.
Yep.
On the subject of This Is Us, I can't say that I hate this show because I've never watched it, but I do hate the ads for it. I can't stand the ad. When I'm watching Football Night in America and they run those This Is Us ads, I can't. My real life is challenging enough. I don't need to get invested in 19 other storylines that are going to just make me bawl, cry, or feel bad about myself.
Well, now I need to throw my 2 cents in. I don't care about This Is Us. I've never watched a single episode, but I strongly disliked Life itself.
Okay,
I think that might be my worst movie of the year.
On a very special This Is Us.
I can't. I really can't.
Let me ask you all a question about the CinemaScore thing, because Fahrenheit 11.9 got an A CinemaScore, but you see that happen a number of times when it's almost like the movie's coming to its own defense, where, hey, our box office receipts weren't what we wanted them to be, but look, everybody who saw it gave it an A according to CinemaScore. How much stock should the viewers out there put in a CinemaScore rating? Is it like your parents judging your report card, or is it something that's a little fishier?
Well, no. I mean, it's a very similar thing to the way you should look at Rotten Tomatoes, where, you know, it's an aggregate. It's a whole bunch of people's opinions in one letter grade, one number grade. So you have to look at that and actually think about it before you say, oh, because it's an A, I'm going to love this movie. It's the greatest thing in the world. You might be different than that, but where it comes in handy is with box office numbers, where that A means absolutely nothing for its opening weekend. What it is it's a polling service of opening day reactions, and if something gets an A, it's much more likely that it's going to have some good word of mouth, and that could keep it from dropping a lot its next weekend and maybe the weekend after. So when you see an A, odds are it's going to hold on pretty strong.
Yeah, if I'm on the fence about a movie and I see the cinema score is an A, then I'll go. More times than not, I will go, because I'll go, if enough people watched it and enjoyed it, then I have a shot at least to enjoying it. I don't look at the Rotten Tomatoes score as powerfully when I'm on the fence about a film as I do the cinema score. And that's the way I kind of look at it, because it's authentic reaction from people just like me going to see a movie. And so but it is encouraging, right? And I will say the Fahrenheit 11/9, I think what you say, Mark, is right. I think it's about the fact that when Michael Moore was doing these documentaries, they were unique back then. Now, the political cycle of the last 2 years, we are inundated with it.
That's the point I was going to ask
it's not
you about
right.
that.
I'm just saying it's the way it is now in our society. We're like, well, what am I going to see there that I can't see on CNN or Fox News or read in the New York Times or read in any other news source that I go to? Everything is analyzing the Trump administration, the Trump White House. So that's on a 24/7 cycle now. And so we can't escape it. You cannot escape it. It's so divisive. So why would I sit in the theater and watch another 2 hours of it? You know, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Perri, do you buy into the escapism argument that we want to go to the movies nowadays to escape the news cycle that we see, not just on television, but on our phones, on our computers constantly, that we're inundated with? Or is it more the fact that, is the name Michael Moore just, if this movie was made by a different documentary filmmaker that was a little more unknown, that didn't have a name brand attached to them, and the movie wasn't called Fahrenheit 11/9, because I understand the significance of the November 9th date, I also think you could have titled this movie anything, and it might have come off better than just Fahrenheit 11/9. I think it was a little confusing to viewers, and I also think the name Michael Moore might have sunk this more than it helped it float.
I don't know. It's a little tough to say. In hearing both of these options here, I think I side more with the idea of this, you know, this is just something that's on TV all the time. And why would you want to sit through stuff you've already seen on the news if you watch the news? And really, that's the target audience, are people that are invested in this. And odds are they're already up to their eyeballs in reports. So I have a feeling that's kind of what did it. But, you know, sometimes I get a little surprised, especially when we're covering movies nonstop, when I see a marketing campaign with so little promotional material. And, you know, other than the few screening invites I got, I can't remember seeing all that much promoting this thing.
Yeah.
So that could have made a little bit of a dent also.
Yeah, I think that when families were judging what to go see this weekend, it's like, do I go see the Trump movie where I can watch that all day? As far as I know, honey, we don't have any clocks in our walls, so let's go see what a house like that is going to feel like. And pumpkins throwing up on Jack Black never hurts with a box office. So the final question before we move on to our next story, what is going to be number one next week? I got my money on Night School. I think it's going to crush. I think the name of Kevin Hart plus Tiffany Haddish, who popped into the Comedy Store this weekend, a lot of good pop-ins this week. It's kind of a fun club to attend when you're in Los Angeles. I think that movie's going to do very, very well, surpassing expectations. What say you?
I wanted to go on Friday night to the Comedy Store, but I was emotionally unavailable to go after Friday. But I was
beer
invited.
waiting for you.
I was invited, but unfortunately, I was not in an emotional place to go and laugh. No, but I will say Night School.
You're worried about the Redskins game. I understand.
That's what it was. I was hyped up. No, Night School definitely. I think Kevin Hart now coming out, I think it'll be surprising. The combo of those two. If it was just a Kevin Hart film, I don't think necessarily. But him and Tiffany Haddish, it's a good combo. The trailer's been funny, certainly. And you know, people are going to see this kind of thing. African American community and also other communities are going to go see this thing. I don't know if it'll get to the top. I think it'll depend how Smallfoot comes out, what kind of publicity it gets.
Perri, you going Smallfoot? You going Night School, or are you going with your heart with Hellfest?
You know, I kind of want to. I actually think it might be pretty close with all of of these I'm curious to see, because I know some folks are seeing Night School very soon. If that thing does get pretty good reviews, it makes the most sense to me, I guess. I mean, Hellfest definitely seems like the long shot compared to these two, because it's been a long time since we've gotten an animated film, and we know what happens when things like that pop, especially this summer with Hotel Transylvania. And Kevin Hart, just look at his box office track record. He does tend to do pretty well, and I think the only thing that could hurt Night School at this point is if reviews come out and just rip it to shreds for whatever reason. But I actually think that all three have a good shot of making a decent amount this weekend.
I just remember I was in like 6th grade asking my mom if I could go to night school, because I heard of this thing, night school. I was like, hey, Mom, can I go to night school instead? Because just the concept of school at night meant I could sleep in all day, and I didn't get to go to night school. I still had to continue waking up at 6:30 or 7 in the morning, whenever. They make kids wake up too early. That's why we do this show in the afternoon now. 4 p.m. Already been up, worked out, got a nap in. Tough Mudder news coming up right around the corner. But first, we talk about all these things going on with the new Todd Phillips Joker movie starring Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur, and he's certainly on the rocks. Now, we first got our image of Arthur last week, and then coupled with that was TMZ footage of filming a scene in a 1970s era New York City subway with the Joker coming out looking like he's causing a lot of mayhem. That's par for the course for the Joker. And then we have the addition of Todd Phillips revealing the first glimpse of the star of Atlanta and Deadpool 2, Zazie Beetz, in character. It was reported that Beetz is going to be playing a single mother who catches the interest of the man that is probably Arthur, who would one day become the Joker. So the Joker is set to open in theaters October 4th, 2019. So we're just about a year away from the release of this movie. When I saw this footage, I thought it was released from the studio, and then it's TMZ footage, and I'm not sure if the studio wanted it to get out or they didn't. I think that this actually helps the movie. I think that seeing the Joker in an image is one thing, and we could all imagine what Joaquin Phoenix would look like with makeup. Number of fans online did their version of it, sent it in, then we saw the official one. Great. They're making the movie. That's awesome. This is an individual, unique look at the Joker, and I think that regardless how this got out of the studio, wanted it leaked or not, it came out, and I think it got people more excited than they were the day before it came out. How do you feel about it, Perri?
That legit looks like somebody was planted there and got the opportunity to shoot that cell phone video. I mean, I know there was another video that had leaked, and I think there's a couple of them out there now, so maybe they need to improve security overall.
What's wrong with the DC team?
That video in particular, I mean, whoever is holding that cell phone camera or whatever, like, they have to be standing there at eye level the way he walks out. I mean, it's right there.
Maybe they have those Howie Mandel glasses cam with they're wearing the glasses, the camera right here. There's no sound attached to it, but I mean, you're right. There is something weird. The DC movies, this, Shazam, Suicide Squad, there's all this leaked footage that comes out when they're filming these big scenes. You just don't see that happen with Marvel films.
One way or the other, I think this is an instance where it helped. We were both on the movie talk where the first image came out, and he was just Arthur. So he was just Arthur, and I'm like, whatever. It looks like Joaquin Phoenix with like a new hairdo or something, and it didn't do anything for me whatsoever. And then all of a sudden we get that the makeup test video, and completely changes the game. You see something like that, and that's going to get people talking, and so will a video like that. So I think all of it, whether it was planted or not, the stars have just aligned for them, and I think it's going to get more people talking in a positive manner about this Joker movie. I also think that there is no way that is just Zazie Beetz' character. I think that just like with Arthur, we're going to get another thing soon with some sort of makeup test or whatever else it is, and it's going to show her in a much different light.
Okay. Do you also think that we're going to get multiple layers of this character that Zazie Beetz is playing, Rocha, as opposed to just being a single mother who has caught the eye of Joker?
Oh, yeah. I don't think Zazie Beetz takes a role that sounds so simple like that. There's so much more that she can do with it, especially coming out of Atlanta, and even how she almost stole Deadpool 2 away from Ryan Reynolds with her performances, with her scenes. So to me, that makes just so much sense, Perri. And also, I want to echo the agreement. I want to echo an agreement with what you two are saying. I wasn't sure about that first picture. I was like, oh man, are they doing this cheesy kind of, I'm crazy. But no, there's more going on here. The camera test footage was incredible. And then this feels like gritty, urban, dirty, authentic, real Joker. Scorsese Joker, like a 70s Joker. And that, I didn't think was possible. And so I'm excited now in a way that I haven't been before, and I love that it's outside. It doesn't have any ties with the DCEU. It just is what it is on its own. And what Zazie will bring to it, I'm excited to see what levels of character we've got here. I want to see what De Niro's role in this whole thing is. So now where I went from like, I don't know, we'll see. Now I'm in the camp of like, oh, I can't wait to see what's next. But I want to give a shout out to Dorian's tweet over the weekend when this came out. He said, we gonna see the whole damn movie before it comes out if all these things keep getting released. And I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, figure out what's going on the sets. But if this was, I mean, of all the footage that I've seen leaked from the DC and the DCEU movies over the years, this felt like the most we want you to do this.
Yes.
Yeah. We're actively, maybe it's a peace offering to everybody who is at TMZ or people who consider themselves paparazzi. It's like, look, we'll let one of y'all in. Just, the rest of you guys just please go home. We'll give one of y'all a cell phone. You can take whatever kind of footage you want. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Rode Microphones. You guys can check out a really cool contest that they have going on called myroadreel.com. A bunch of short filmmakers got together, or individually more likely, with some Rode equipment. They made themselves a 3-minute short movie. Now you can check all those out at myroadreel.com. You can vote on which one is your favorite. Number of different genres to select from. Vote on who you think should deserve their share of the $1 million prize purse. Go to myroadreel.com right now to check that out. Well, there's a trailer we're about to talk to in a little bit. You can also see a reaction here on Collider Video. A whole lot of fun stuff that we have going on this week at Collider Video and our other channels, Collider Games, Collider Quick, and Collider Sports. Like I said, probably no shortage of talking about the NFL weekend, Tigers weekend, and I'm going to have a fun weekend in New York City during Comic-Con. October 5th, I'm going to be back in one of the best cities in the world, if not the best, the one where Joker rides the subway. October 5th, I'm doing New York Comedy Club, the new location in the East Village. You can get tickets right now at markelslive.com. I'll be headlining. A whole lot of special guests are going to be popping on there. So we move on to our next story, and that would be Birds of Prey. We're sticking in the world of the DC movies because Birds of Prey finally has a release date, and it's set for February 4th. February 7th, 2020. Kathy Ann is directing a script from Christina Hodson, and Margot Robbie acting as both one of the stars and producers of this movie. They're still casting certain roles, but as we noted last week, we have a number of bigger names that are in the running for said roles. Jurnee Smollett-Bell and Gugu Mbatha-Raw, along with Janelle Monáe, are reportedly in the running to be playing Black Canary. And for Huntress, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Margaret Qualley, and Christine Milioti have all tested for the role. And Justina Machado and the Deuce actress, Roberto Colondres, for Gotham City Detective Renee Montoya. And then here's something else that's fun. Filling out the character descriptions is the fourth Batgirl, Cassandra Cain, is portrayed as a 12-year-old in this script. So if you're a fan of Gotham, you like seeing little kid Batman, you might get to see little kid Batgirl before she actually assumes the mantle of being Batgirl. I throw a lot of news at you right now, Rocha, but I think the big headline here is that this movie has an official release date, and all of a sudden, with the Joker movie coming out October next year, and then you have this following it up February 7th, does DC have their act together?
I feel like slowly but surely they are. They're putting this thing together, regardless of what happens with Aquaman. I think Shazam's what we got to look at. Wonder Woman 2's got to look at. We're looking at this Joker stuff, which is really great. And now this Birds of Prey. What people talked about and joked about DC over the last couple of years have been like, they announced 95 movies and none of them ever come to fruition. Well, these are coming to fruition. These are getting release dates. These are getting people in motion. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. They're taking a long time to get her back on screen, but it's going to happen now with a release date. So that excites me all around. I like the idea of putting them all together, and the actresses that they are looking at and screening, these are different kinds of actresses that have very strong independent movie backgrounds, and that's a positive to me. That shows me some talent that I want to see take on these kinds of roles and bring a sort of depth and complexity that they've honed in other films onto these roles. So that excites me, and I love that Margot Robbie's getting a chance to walk back into this Harley Quinn. I wasn't 100% the biggest fan of her performance in Suicide Squad, but I saw what I needed to see in that movie from her to show me that the potential for more is there under a certain director or under a certain direction. So I'm looking forward to it, and so this excites me.
Yeah, period. Rocha brought up Wonder Woman 2. That movie's going to come out a month after the Joker movie. They're not going to link together at all. Right. It's not. You're not going to see a post-credit situation. At least I wouldn't imagine you would. Very independent movies, but still all from the same house. is where they originate, and then you have this added on the following February. Looking good for DC right now.
I want to be really excited. I want to be really excited so badly and believe every single thing that we've heard about is going to happen and pan out really well. But, I've learned my lesson time and time again, and I'm going to hold on to that positivity, but I'm going to remember what happened, at least for a little while, because, you never know with these things. It's definitely very encouraging that they set a release date and have it out there, that they're aiming to start production in early 2019. That is a very good sign, and I'm not taking that away from this project, but things fall apart. There's complications. Stuff happens, but hopefully that's not the case with this one, because every single actor on that potential casting list, I don't care who gets those roles. I am really excited about the potential in every single one. And with what Margot Robbie has accomplished between now and Suicide Squad, both as an actor and as a producer, I think that's going to put Birds of Prey in even better shape to turn out to be a great movie.
But we have Joker coming out October 4th, the Todd Phillips Joker movie. Is there any chance we see Jared Leto as Joker show up anywhere in Birds of Prey? Would you do that if you were Warner Brothers in DC?
They were already kicking around this idea of doing a Joker standalone movie with Jared Leto that's in the DCEU or DCU adjacent. So I think it would be a huge mistake to put her in Birds of Prey. Put Joker in Birds of Prey, rather. Birds of Prey should be its own thing, create its own universe, have its own characters. It's got a wealth of story between all these characters that it does not need to add Joker to attract people. Margot Robbie is your attraction to get you into the theater. You don't need Jared Leto's Joker to get you in the theater. And all these other actresses that they're kicking around or talking to, those actresses are going to get you in the theater as well, more than Jared Leto as Joker will. So to me, that just makes it would kind of take away from the film.
Perri, you think it would take away from the film? Do you think it's a missed opportunity if you don't at least hear the name of, Big Daddy in there?
I wouldn't be surprised if he popped up in the film, but I do agree that it would take away from Margot Robbie and all these other really exciting roles that they're talking about. Especially because in Suicide Squad, I was very intrigued by what was going on between Joker and Harley Quinn, but it's an ensemble movie with a million other characters in it, and you were never able to kind of dig into that, fully flesh it out enough. And I would be afraid that you would run the same risk if Joker played, whether it's a cameo or even an integral role in the whole narrative. I still think you would run the risk of taking away too much of the spotlight from all these other characters you're going to be introducing.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be opposed to seeing more of that Joker's backstory. I liked what I saw in Suicide Squad. Okay, I didn't love it, but I didn't think it was horrible either. But in Birds of Prey, I just find it wholly unnecessary to have Jared Leto pop in there. I do think there's going to be a wink and a nod mention to the fact that this Joker exists in this world. I think there's going to be some sort of mention, some sort of little joke, some aside that you're going to be acknowledging that he's in the universe, but at the same time focusing on the Birds of Prey and I don't know who they're going after as far as like if it's an antagonist or if it's an anti-hero, but I know that it's Black Mask, so also known as Roman Sionis. So there we go. Okay, now we move on to Rocha's favorite part of the show. This is where we get to talk about a Transformers movie.
Oh, yeah.
There's a Transformers movie coming out, and it's called Bumblebee, and it got a new trailer over the weekend. So without further ado, sir, nobody wants to hear what I have to say about the Transformer. We want to talk to the man himself.
Come on. Look, I know a lot of you have issues with the Bayformers, as Dennis calls them and other people call them. But look, this is going back to the 80s. This is a smart move by Paramount. This was a fantastic trailer that doubled down on what we had seen on the trailer before, introduced some new characters that hadn't, and I don't mean new as if we'd never seen them before. I mean characters that weren't going to be in here, and they're going to be new to the movie. So that's going to be interesting to see all that come together. I love what the quote was here from Travis Knight. He said, if I was going to make a Transformers film, I wanted to give nods to some of the things that I love most about the series to begin with, and for me, seeing those original designs on Shockwave, Soundwave, Ravage, and Wheeljack, and all those different characters was a really exciting opportunity to take the audience back to the initial wave of Transformers. And that's what this is about, right? And it's a smart move by Paramount. They did make a crap ton of money off those Bayformer movies, but they know to go back in time, that's going to be what sells it. And you see here in this trailer, you see more of the relationship between Haley Stanfield and Bumblebee. You see Bumblebee warrior mode and regular mode. You see all those characters that I just mentioned coming out from the G1 universe. Really, people flipped out of the Starscream. People flipped out all these things happening in the trailer. And then then you get Angela Bassett. That's the first time we're hearing her voice, I think. And then you get Optimus Prime. You get G1 Optimus Prime, son. You get him in a hologram, but you got Peter Cullen doing this voice. So everything about this trailer I really enjoyed. John Cena, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But everything else I like. You get more of the world of Haley Stansfield's character, and you get the 80s vibe from it. And it seems like a love letter to Transformers almost. You can see that Travis Knight really loves the G1 Transformers. That exudes off the trailer.
Yeah, Travis Knight, the head cheese at Leica, and he did Kubo, the two strings. And what Rocha says, Perri, is one of the reasons why I'm excited about this movie. I like the trailer a lot, and I also think that the character designs is somebody who pulls off the animation style, the stop motion that he has shown his ability to do. I think he really puts his artistic eye into Transformers and making them feel like the toys that at least I played with when I was a little kid. I think that's a really exciting element to this movie. I like that Haley Steinfeld and Bumblebee, it's a girl and her dog kind of tale. This movie's going to put me through hell, though. The same way that Pete's Dragon did, where it maybe Pete's Dragon had a happy ending, okay? But that dragon goes to hell and back. He just gets the crap beat out of him for 2 hours, and it was tough to watch. I don't want to see that happen to Bumblebee.
Oh, brace yourself for Dumbo.
They ripped Bumblebee from his mom. They got to rub headlights.
That's the stuff that I responded to most in this trailer, was all the stuff with Haley Steinfeld and the boy and his dog kind of vibe to it, and when he's like rubbing her head and stuff. I thought that was super sweet. This one had a touch of Bay's Transformers to me, though, and that's where it started to lose me. And, you guys are both highlighting, the old school designs, the colors, and that look. I understand why that would mean something to you, but coming from the perspective of someone who wasn't attached to Transformers growing up, that was kind of lost on me. And I think it made some of the effects look a little wonky to me. There's one shot in particular that really stood out. It's that shot where she's running away from the action behind her. All I could picture while I was watching that, and I rewatched it too, was her running like with a green screen behind her and all that stuff happening there. Maybe some of the effects aren't 100% finished in a trailer like this, and it could look a lot better on the big screen. But I think because some of the action was so heavy and so big and so reminiscent of all the other movies, I think that's why this trailer is the first piece of promo material for this movie that lost me a little.
I like this. I like that you pointed this out, because as you're talking about it, I was like, oh, that's why I like those parts, because they do feel reminiscent of the Michael Bay Transformers. That's not a negative to me. So, but yeah, the running thing, we've seen that before, like on Peter Jackson, King Kong, where they're all running down the side and they're all battling. We've seen that before, and we've definitely seen them fighting as humans are running in previous Michael Bay Transformers films. So maybe Paramount knows, like, there are enough people that like the Michael Bay Transformers, so they don't want to 100% walk away from it, but they're really focusing on making its own thing, and with some shades of the.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case, because they didn't know what was going to happen with The Last Night. Also, for all they knew, that was going to be another colossal hit, and then this one would have had to tie into those to continue making a ton of money.
I think the most Bayisms that I felt watching this trailer weren't necessarily with tone, but it was the fact that they threw a lot of Transformers at us. Name of the movie is Bumblebee. There's a lot of Transformers in here not named Bumblebee. It was cool hearing Optimus's voice again and seeing all these, and I found myself getting excited. You know what else gets me excited? Every trailer for every Michael Bay Transformers movie that I went to go see, I was like, oh, they finally turned it around. Oh, we got the Shadow of the Empire, whatever the hell the second one was, Revenge of the Fallen, and then we get the Dark of the Moon, and then we get all these other ones, and it just never played out well in the theater. And now I see this trailer, and I'm like, look at all the other Transformers they got in a Bumblebee movie. So I do have a little bit of hesitation, but I feel like this is in good hands. The argument against that, to Perri's point, is that it's not just that you feel Michael Bay's presence, it's that this is the same exact situation we had with Ninja Turtles, where you had a different director coming in and Michael Bay producing, and too many times those Ninja Turtles movies felt like Michael Bay came into the editing room and just did everything his way. Is there the fear for that of you, because you're a fan of the Transformers series? I mean, there's a lot of people that want to see this take a different direction. So do you think that they can hedge their bets both ways?
I think they have to. I think they have no other option here but to do that. And I think they'll keep Michael Bay outside that room as much as possible and keep him away from
the street's named after him. Paramount. It's Michael Bay Avenue.
When you make almost $4 billion for a freaking, they'll give you a street. So I think that's a good thing. But I think the smart move is Paramount keeping Michael Bay out of this. And Michael Bay's smart to sit this one out for a little bit. Let Travis because it works both ways. Because if this comes out, people don't like it, and it doesn't make money, then Michael Bay walks back in triumphantly to the Transformers franchise and goes, "I told you, my stuff works." So that's a possibility. Or he stays away. This is is good. Kind of, it lets the public kind of like unwind and relax a little bit. Maybe Travis Knight does another one, continues the Bumblebee stuff, and then Michael Bay can come back down the road. But we'll see. I think it's a smart move all around the way they're doing it, and I'd be shocked if they would let Michael Bay anywhere near this because people have such an aversion for it right now.
Clearly, as a youth, you enjoyed the Transformers.
I loved the animated
series. Do you
series.
find Perri's comments appalling because she
do.
clearly comes from the Power Rangers camp where those were her robot toys that she got to play with, and so these Transformers, it's old hat to her, and she's bringing her Power Rangers, her Mighty Morphin bias to the Transformers party that you're so desperately trying to host.
Well, it happens. Every from the 80s, it's been worse every generation. So, Transformers is the best. Then you get some knockoff called Voltron, then something called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then from there you get Rick and Morty. No, I just feel like
that's an interesting timeline you painted us right there, Perri.
You get My Little Pony or something.
Do you subscribe to Rocha's ranking of Transformers, then Voltron, then Power Rangers way down
This is what happens when you're not young enough to be able to go and kill it at CrossFit. So you just start ripping apart everybody's pastime and ruining all the nostalgia.
They literally, before we went to air, I wish we had the cameras on in the studio. We're sitting here at the desk, and our sound check was them debating. They're trading screenings for CrossFit lessons. So if I get you into the screening, you got to come to CrossFit with me. Those CrossFit lessons are going to pay off because I don't know if it's public news yet, but there's going to be an event that Collider's going to be participating.
This needs to be public news because the public needs to put the pressure on this for this to happen. I've got faith in myself to show up for the Tough Mudder that we just signed up for on Saturday, November 3rd. I actually have faith that Rocha is going to show up bright and early and run that course by my side, and we're going to make it through the whole thing.
Somehow.
I'm putting it on record right now. The one I'm worried about, Dorian Parks.
Yeah.
None of you out there let Dorian Parks flake on the Tough Mudder on November 3rd.
Tweet him
I'm
every
trusting
day.
you.
Okay, so it's a 3-person team? Is that what I'm...
Well,
what I'm hearing?
I extended the
It's
offer.
a 3. I think maybe we should make that a 4-person team.
Yeah?
I think
come on.
I think it's time to step up and look. I've done the Tough Mudder before. I'll do it again, and I'm going to do it November 3rd.
Yes.
As part of Team Collider.
Oh.
I don't want to come in as a team leader. Look, guys, I'm just happy to be here.
Oh, boy.
I'm just happy to be part of the squad. If I happen to give a rousing pep talk that gets you all through those hard spots when you got to go in the ice tank underneath, you got to hit the electrodes right at the end. There's going to be an ice cold beer waiting for you right after the finish line.
We are not skipping a single obstacle.
Nope.
Everyone's in agreement, right?
Yeah, I am. I don't know about Dorian.
I think you could work out some sort of thing with like how old you are. Like we'll have like some sort of equation to like if you're 40 plus, you get to skip X amount of obstacles. Just make sure the Dorian's not allowed to skip any
There's
obstacles.
no time limit on this, so we can take our time through, and we'll be running. From what I remember from Tough Mudder, you run up to the you have to wait for everyone else to negotiate their obstacle. That's where you're going to get your rest in between obstacles.
I'm like a fat kid at a cakewalk. I'm throwing elbows. I'm the next one getting up there, and then like a fat kid at a cakewalk, I'm probably crying because I didn't get cake. We're gonna do one more story that I'm going to remind you guys at the end of this show. We're going to save some time for your live Twitter questions. Go ahead and start tweeting us right now at Collider Video. Use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. And as we teased at the top of the show, Chucky's back. But he's still in the dark, pretty much. We really can't see much at all from this first image. I literally can't even tell that's Chucky. It could be Annabelle's boyfriend, and it just you can kind of see that it's Chucky. It's an updated model for the new modern times. As we talked about last week, Aubrey Plaza, Brian Tyree Henry are in the film. Aubrey Plaza plays the mom of one of the kids. It's going to be a gaggle of kids that discover this doll. The doll might have new, updated technological abilities, like a
chainsaw.
Teddy Ruxpin meets Alexa situation. And that could freak kids out even more so than like a cursed Annabelle doll. Perri, you love horror movies. You're excited about Hellfest breaking box office records this weekend. What does this first image of Chucky do to you?
The first image of Chucky just goes in like the F off pile. I can't stand that this movie. I
love
can't
that Perri
stand
has
that
an
this
F off
movie.
pile.
The only thing that is making me at all interested in this movie is the casting from last week. That's it, because I like the both of them quite a bit. The fact that they're signing on makes me think that maybe there's a little more to it, but the fact that this exists at all, while that is still a slasher franchise that is maybe not getting wide audiences into theaters, but still cruising along with a very dedicated fan base. And please amazing, that fan base. With its latest, its seventh installment, Cult is so much fun. So is Curse. A whole bunch of them are a delight. And there's that whole original team is still working on it. So as much as I don't want to close the door to wide audiences to experience Child's Play if you're not caught up in what's happening right now, I do think that you should let this team that's still working, still making new material, run their course. Then when they stop and they can't make anymore, that's when you reboot something, not when it's still going.
Okay, Rocha. Perri, not as high on Child's Play.
Well, I didn't grow up with these kinds of Child's Play movies. I didn't grow up watching them. No, here's the deal. I agree with Perri, to be honest with you. The last one actually surprisingly did well for what it was. So why are we rebooting it? And rebooting it like this, I mean, it looks like he went to a hair salon, got his hair done really well to be killing people. So the thing that was great about the Chucky doll was that it was so disheveled and so weird looking and everything like that. But this looks like very polished and clean. It looks like the hair's got hair product. It's a little weird. It's not as scary as you would like to see. And the Annabelle reference is perfect because that's what it looks like a little bit. So I'll have to see more from this. I love that Aubrey Plaza is in this. Aubrey Plaza is such a fun actress. She makes such interesting choices with her career. So I'd be excited to see what this comes. But this does not make me want to go in the theater and watch it.
I hope that hair look isn't a way to modernize it.
It totally is. Of course it is. It's pushed back
it
with
looks like he has like slicked back hair.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Isn't that what Chucky always had? What did Chucky always have?
Chucky had crazier hair. That looks like someone took some gel and combed his hair back.
Let me tell you something.
Maybe there's more and like brighter red hair when he comes out of the darkness. I would hope so, but I hope that's not a way to like turn him into a Ken doll.
God, the poor thing's on. Put the thing out of fire. Maybe if you stop setting your toys on fire, they wouldn't come and attack you. Look, I haven't seen this whole movie, so I don't have the context. But all I see is a kid lighting his doll on fire, and that kid should go to juvie. But as far as the hair goes, this is Chucky like fresh out of the factory. Okay, I'm sure his hair is going to get a little messed up once he actually starts terrorizing and trying to stab kids.
That's fine. But the fact that he comes out like fresh out of the factory, like I'm like a good-looking dude in this day and age, that just annoys me.
It feels like serial killer Chucky rather than slasher Chucky. That's what that picture gives me, that vibe.
You think the eyes are staring at him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just waiting, like stalking. Updated technology. Alexa, kill Chucky. I think something like that. It's weird.
All right, so the Child's Play movie, we're still going to... maybe if there's TMZ footage of Chucky emerging from the subway next week, then we have something real to talk about. Until then, we will hold out. Lars Kleber directs the movie. Lars Kleber also did Polaroid. So you guys can look forward to Child's Play coming to a theater near you soon-ish. They still got to film the movie. We are going to do your live Twitter questions. Before we get to that, I did want to note, as many fantasy, sci-fi, and particularly Star Wars fans probably felt the passing of Gary Kurtz over the weekend at the age of 78. Gary Kurtz was a producer on not just Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back, but also films like American Graffiti, The Dark Crystal. I know I saw it over the weekend, and you just get bummed because of all the great work that he did for us. And when you see movies, you forget how much actually goes into watching them. But Star Wars takes us to a galaxy far, far away. It took the creative vision of George Lucas and also producers like Gary Kurtz to help see those visions into the movie theaters where we all know and love. So our best wishes go to Kurtz's family. We also want to remind you guys that we have a whole lot of cool stuff coming on Collider Video this week, including a new episode of Perri's horror podcast, The Witching Hour. What are we talking about? Hellfest?
No, not this week. This week, Haley and I are doing a deep dive into The Purge TV series on USA. We have non-spoiler talk on the episode, but we also dig into the first 3 episodes because that's where they're up to now. And to give you a little tease of that, it's actually pretty good.
I was going to say, yeah. Can you just give it like it's...
I really like it. I think that the Purge concept, when it has more screen time and room to breathe and different perspectives, I think this lives up to the potential.
Okay. Well, tune into Collider Live tomorrow. Apparently, I got word from Mark Riley that I'm going to be on Collider Live tomorrow around 11:30 interviewing Tommy and Greg, as in Tommy and Greg from The Room. Tommy and Greg. They have that new movie, Best Friends, coming out, so they're going to be in studio at least as of right now, and I get to rekindle my friendship with Tommy Wiseau. We had a great talk in Studio B, and now we get to take him into the podcast studio. Pretty small, so we probably won't be throwing footballs this time. Sports balls, Rocha, you love talking about sports here around the Collider Studios. I was corrected by a fan last week, and I apologize to all the soccer fans out there. I'm calling it Premier League. Yeah. Is it am I misprint? Is it Premier?
Listen, don't listen to those. You know what? It's Premier League. That's how they like to say it. Yeah, not Premier. Premier League. That's how they like to
Premier.
pronounce it. Yeah,
Okay.
they're real anal about it. Like, who cares? Like, to be honest
They
with you.
don't like when we call football.
Well, that's a whole separate conversation. But yeah, we do. Tomorrow we'll have a new episode of Collider Premier League Jack Hind and I are going to break that down for Collider Sports. And then we did a new episode of Collider Sports Time today. Me, Matt Nost, and Josh McCouga broke down NFL Week 3, College Football Week 4, and Tiger Woods. We spent a lot of time. That opened the show. A lot of Tiger Woods stuff. Shout out to Adam Smith, who runs the show for us behind the scenes there. Fantastic stuff. Him and Remsen just getting all this graphics and then getting everything squared away for our show. So it's a good show. Watch it. And we give Perri some love for her Collider Fantasy Football League. She's second place. She was right in between me and
Second place?
Adam Smith. Yeah, in terms of the point total for the week.
Hey.
Yeah. Adam killed it though.
I know,
was
Adam
like
did crush
almost
it.
160. There it is. There it is. So yeah.
Classic Adam Smith. Yeah. Well, I would like to point out Mark Ellis has one more player to go tonight, and his name is Antonio Brown. So
Mark
I have
Ellis is
Antonio
a lot.
Brown, and I have, and I'm playing Jay Washington, and he has Deshaun Jackson. So whoever has the better game tonight probably gonna end up winning that.
You know, I thought you knew what you were talking about. Like, I wanted to give you credit that you would win this thing. You'd have a good, but your team you have not done well. The Hog Diesels or Diesel Hogs, whatever they are this week, they have not done well.
We're like the Patriots. We're gonna get our feet, we're gonna get our footing, and then we're gonna be there at the end. And you don't want to see us in the playoffs.
All right.
Our first Twitter question comes from Dustapalooza, and Dustapalooza says, "Who's your choice to play Chucky in the new remake?" I imagine to do the voice of Chucky. Who's a good Chucky
Javier
voice?
Bardem. I don't know.
No, can I just refuse to answer this question? It's Durif and only Durif.
Gonna have to make you.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna go with. I want to see that the kid from Stranger Things, Galen Matarazzo.
Oh.
I want to see Dustin from Stranger Things. I want to see what he can bring to the Chucky doll. That's my Chucky.
Who's the kid from Looper? The young kid from Looper.
Oh, what happened to that kid?
Yeah, bring that scary kid back and let him be the voice of Chucky, because that kid is scary. When he starts using his powers in that movie, that is a scary freaking kid. Bring him back to do the voice.
Okay, all right.
Perri's not happy with this at all.
Yeah, Perri does not want to answer that question.
I
so.
don't.
All right, well, let's move on and let's go to something else. All right, Luis E. de la Pena, one of our favorites, says, totally not related to Child's Play. If you could choose a childhood toy to make a hard twist, which one would it be? You could choose an actual childhood toy. I have one that has kind of already been taken.
Okay.
I have a ventriloquist dummy named Danny O'Day that I got a long time ago. And every night I was waiting for that thing to come to life and it kicked the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I believe there was a Twilight Zone episode where there was it's one of the better where, I mean, they're all great, but it was like a puppet and the guy, like, he had to perform with the puppet because like backstage, the puppet pretty much told him what to do. It's a lot like comedy.
It's also a great 70s horror film with Anthony Hopkins called Magic, where he thinks the puppet is speaking to him, making him kill all these people. That's a fantastic film, too.
Okay, Perri, what toys?
The ones that I think my mind quickly goes to Furby, because I think Furby creeped me out a little as a kid, and it's, I love Gremlins, and Furby would have a Gremlins vibe. You can go the AI route with Tamagotchi. Like, remember that was the hottest thing? I mean, definitely not you, but were you in the Tamagotchi land?
No, I mean, I was aware of it, but I was already moved on to exclusively dealing in Magic the Gathering by around then.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I'm going to say Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah.
Go kill yourself. It's just scary. It's scary to hear a bear tell you to do that, or start cuddling, stroking your face, and then start cutting you up or stabbing you or whatever. A Teddy Ruxpin, you would never expect it from a Teddy Ruxpin.
Like a Stay Puft Marshmallow you just painted.
Yeah, like a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man,
All right, Chris El Guapo closes us out here today on this Monday edition of Collider Movie Talk with the question, what's a movie that made you upset it didn't do better at the box office? For Chris, he says Assassination Nation. Ooh. And I would agree with that. I think it was one of the better movies I've seen this year. And for people to not go out and see it, I realize it's a tough thing to sell to a mass audience. It's a whole lot of violence. It's really in your face, and it's scary source material, but it's also it's a tough thing to think about because it could happen tomorrow. So Chris says Assassination Nation. What's a movie that you think should have done better?
If we're talking about this weekend in particular, it would be that one, because I did like Assassination Nation quite a bit. It's a tough watch at points, but yeah, when you start to look at it as something that could happen any second, it's mortifying. And I think the leading quartet is just as sick and twisted as the movie is, they're a lot of fun to watch and to see them kind of rise up and take control at the end. I mean, it's the definition of like a cheering at the screen kind of movie, and I like the experience. This year, though, I would also toss in Unsane. I was really into that movie. Sad it didn't do well, and the same thing with Tully. I wish I don't know how wide of a release Tully wound up getting, but I wish it made more money than it did.
Okay, Rocha, this weekend, this year, or all time?
Well, all time would have to be Out of Sight. I've never understood why Out of Sight never made as much money as it should have. Soderbergh was in his prime as a filmmaker at that time, where everyone was going to see Soderbergh movies. So I was so surprised. And this is, in my opinion, Jennifer Lopez's best performance this side of Selena. And George Clooney, just full, smooth mother effer mode, man. Him and Lopez have incredible chemistry. It's a very funny movie, and I just was always surprised it made less than $30 million worldwide as a film. And
really,
it should have made so much more.
Michael Keaton in there.
Michael Keaton's in there. Dennis Farina. You get so many. Ving Rhames is fantastic, and there's so many. Steve Zahn. There's so many great characters, so many great actors all through it. Albert Brooks is even funny in that film.
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams?
Yeah,
I was going to say, Billy, I don't remember Billy
I just wanted to say.
But you do get Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle's fantastic, and Isaiah Washington as well. So a lot of great actors in this
Harrison
film.
Ford.
No. And I was surprised that it didn't make as much as it did. And it still hasn't. But people love that film. Love it.
Well, yeah, there's certain movies that come out and they just have that replayability and people continue to watch them. So I'm going to give you some Office comedies that did hit at the box office, like Office Christmas Party made over $100 million when it came out. Horrible Bosses made over $200 million when it came out. Office Space, $12 million at the box office. And I think we can agree it's probably the best Office comedy of all time. And with that, we are going to say, what would you say it is you do here? Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Collider Movie Talk. I want to thank the one, the only, Miss Perri Nemiroff, ye of the Power Rangers fame, the Transformers defender, John Steven Rocha. I am merely Mark Ellis. Thank y'all for tuning in. We will see you guys tomorrow, 4 p.m. for another edition of Collider Movie Talk. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.